This car is not a project. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. As you heard in the initial clip, this car isn't a project, but I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek because this car is a BMW. Not only is it a BMW, it is an old BMW. Not only is it an old BMW, it's also the cheapest old BMW X3 that I could find within my local marketplace. So by default, we should expect that it actually is a project. Is there really such a thing as a BMW that's off warranty that's not a project? Really? I guess that's the question. Even though this is not a project, it really kind of is. But let me walk you through what this car actually is, what it has, and then we can talk about what's wrong with it. This is a BMW X3 3-liter I. What does that mean? It means that it comes with an inline 3-liter engine that produces 228 horsepower and all-wheel drive, which makes this car rocket from 0 to 60 in about 7.7 seconds. So it's actually not a badly equipped car. It's got decent space. It's got 5 seats for 5 passengers. It's got a reasonably sized trunk or a boot in the back. It has a decent amount of options that come even on the base model, which this is a base model X3. It is listed as an SAV, not an SUV. That stands for Sports Activity Vehicle. It's supposed to do stuff with the all-wheel drive. It will handle the snow and all of that here just fine. Hey, before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you have been to this channel at least one time before, that means that this is your second time and you are still not subscribed. Obviously, you're enjoying this content. Obviously, YouTube wants you to see this content because you're seeing it again. We have a lot of return visitors, but we're not getting the subscribers like we hoped we would. We're counting on you to subscribe so we can make better content. So, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button and the bell. This algorithm will just get blown out of the water and it'll just tell the whole world, I like this video. And with that, let's get back to the content. I bought this car sight unseen. I just told the guy, hey, I'll buy the car. I paid him the money and the car was delivered to my house. I've only driven it into this garage. So part of this video is actually going to be me going through and checking the things that I normally check on a car. So you can use this video to help you look at specific things on a car that you're about to buy, just to get an idea of the overall health of the car. Because currently, I only know 2 things about this car. The owner was selling it for a friend who moved out of the province recently and he just wanted it gone. So that's why I got it so cheap. He just wanted it gone. Also, I suspect something deeper is going on in this car than what meets the eye and that what I was told by the seller. So in the seller's ad, he had a long list of things that were done on the car. He said the coil packs were done. He said it's had an oil change recently, and it says it only needs a new coil pack. Has a misfire, needs a coil pack. So what I can confirm is it does have a misfire, and I'm going to show that to you in a minute. But if it has new coil packs, why does it need a new coil pack? Now he said that it's because the one was bad when it got put in and he was supposed to take it back to the mechanic for warranty purposes, and for whatever reason he just couldn't make it back to the mechanic. It's easy to blame something on a coil pack, and it's a real easy fix if you just want to do it yourself. I just don't feel like doing it. I never believe somebody when they say it's an easy fix, because chances are it's not. And in this case, it probably isn't. This is a BMW, and on this particular model, it wasn't built by BMW. If you aren't aware, this was actually built in Austria by a third-party contractor. The entire car was. Let's go over some of the features that are on this car, and then I'm going to go through some checks to see where we actually stand as far as the maintenance and the work that needs to be done on this car. Starting out in the cabin area of the car, you'll notice that the steering wheel has steering wheel controls on it for all of your basic functions. There's cruise control on here, there's stereo controls, and that sort of thing. The steering wheel actually is a nice shape, it's comfortable to hold, it's leather wrapped. The headlights have automatic headlights, as well as you can turn them on and off. They are auto leveling headlights, so when you first start the car, they'll dip down and then come back up. It does have climate control for at least one person. It has a hill descent mode, as most European cars tend to do. It has heated seats for the driver and for the passenger. It does have one single cup holder in the middle part of the console, but it has another cup holder for the passenger side underneath the climate control opening. It's a automatic transmission with a manual mode, so you can just bump shift back and forth. It's got all the standard features you would expect as far as power windows, power mirrors. The seats on this particular one are all manual, and it's adjusted with these levers here. So it does have a lot of adjustability there to make it comfortable. In the rear, it's just standard seating. It does have this panoramic sunroof. They say that's one thing to actually check on this car, is that that sunroof does open and that it doesn't leak. That's a really big sunroof, actually. I'm surprised. So let's have a look under the hood. Here we can see our inline 6-cylinder 3-liter engine. This is actually the same engine they used on a lot of BMWs in this same era. So as far as reliability, it's about as reliable as a BMW in the early 2000s should be. We're gonna start checking the first few things that I like to check. It's gotta be the oil, and it is very filthy. I like to give it a smell. It doesn't smell too bad, actually. So it just smells dirty, which is okay. I also like to check all of my fluids. So I do have some washer fluid in there. And then I like to come over here, check the radiator. Now, before you check anything on a car, like before you drive a car anywhere, you always do want to check your radiator. The last BMW I bought, the radiator was totally empty. And I found that out when I drove it. And this one is also very empty. I don't know how well you can see down there, but there's a little stick that's supposed to lift up when it's full. It is definitely not full. Already a potential warning sign, because the reservoirs on these radiators were known to crack. It's typical for them to crack. Even on a newer BMW, they will crack and they will cause you grief. So it's possible that this one's already pre-cracked and I'm gonna have to get myself a new reservoir, which is part of the pressurized system. So you can't just seal it up with JB Weld, it'll just blow under the pressure again. So we'll have to put some coolant in there and see how it works. Now, you'll notice this is actually just water, because I think it's got no coolant for a reason. And of course, I did not spill any coolant, and I've already got coolant leaking. Where's that coolant leaking from? It's leaking from straight down there. I don't know if you can see it. So either somebody has released the coolant draining block, or this thing is actually leaking way worse than you think it should. So it's possible it's got a blown radiator. That's a pretty healthy leak. Still coming, just dumping. I'm probably gonna lose roughly about as much coolant as I dumped in. I suspected something was up. And something definitely is up. So I'll have to take the splash shield off to find out exactly where that's leaking from, but I'm not gonna do that today. So now I want to hook up my code reader, which this is a Maxi-Das DS808. This actually is a two-way complete technician level scanner. So I can plug it into the OBD2 port and scan every system on this car. What I'm most interested in is what the misfire is, and if it's actually a coil pack like the guy says, or something else. Because of the water leaking issue, it's possible that this car actually has a blown head gasket, which is why the misfire exists, because if it was ran without coolant, it could have overheated and blew the head gasket. What I do know is that I do not have any milky anything in the oil, and the oil smells like oil. I know when I start it and run it, it just smells like exhaust. So it doesn't smell sweet like it normally would if you had a blown head gasket. So I'm hoping it's not. We're going to plug this in and see basically what kind of codes we've got on here. Because I don't have any coolant in it, I can't run it for long. I don't want it to overheat, but I can run it for at least 3 or 4 minutes before I'll have an issue so that I can run this scanner. So let's go in the car, we'll hook the scanner up and run it. This is my scanner all hooked up. I'm gonna go to Diagnostics. I'm gonna go to European, and I'm going to go to BMW. Now I'm not gonna start the car yet because I don't wanna run it longer than necessary. So I'm just gonna turn the key on and see if I can get my VIN so that it'll just pull the info right out of here. And it does. So now it's decoding the VIN and it knows it's a E83 X3 US. It's a 2004 model year. And yes, that is my car. One thing I did notice while that's booting up, when it started, I don't have a whole lot of issues on the dash here. In fact, I'll start it so you can see. Besides that misfire, I've got no lights, I've got no scary things. It revs fine. It's just an idle, a miss at idle. So let's go Diagnostics, auto scan, and we'll let it do its thing. So we have done the scan, and now I want to check what these codes all are. We're going to read codes, and we're going to find out what kind of codes we get. Digital motor electronics, cylinder 3 misfire, cylinder 6 misfire, cylinder 2 misfire, misfire, mixture preparation, cylinder 1, 4, 5 misfire, and misfire at all cylinders. So I'm going to erase those codes, and then I'm going to see what codes come back. Let's go to live data and see if I can pull up some info on here. That's actually running really smooth when I hold it at like 1500, which is interesting, but I'm not getting any true values. What I'm going to do is try to isolate which cylinder is our problem here. And I'm going to do that by turning off an injector. Normally I'd shut off the coil pack, but in this case I can shut this off. So I've just turned off cylinder 1. The misfire just got worse. Turn it back on. Misfire goes away. Cylinder 1 definitely has a misfire. Cylinder 2. Also, it changes when I shut cylinder 2 off. So something's up with cylinder 2. Cylinder 3. Also has a problem. Cylinder 4. Is even worse. Cylinder 4 actually is the worst, but it's definitely different. Cylinder 5. Again. And cylinder 6, I imagine it'll have a problem too. As you can see from this, I have a lot of codes here. A lot of codes. This is a BMW. BMWs always have codes. So I'm gonna just go for a quick erase, which will clear the codes and then tell me if there's any persistent codes in here. What I can tell you is that this car that was not a project really seems like a project. So far I know for sure that I'm losing coolant from the engine somewhere. I know that I've got a lot of codes, and I know I've got a misfire. I'm going to try and tackle the coolant leak first, which I'm not going to do on this video. I just wanted to walk you through what this car is and the problems that it has. Now, I bought this car for 1,500 Canadian dollars. I might have lost a lot of money on this. This might have been a really, really bad deal. The point is, when you're buying a BMW, it's always a bad deal. There's no such thing as a good BMW. It's always going to be a project. It's always going to need work. What I was hoping for this one is that it would have easy fixes, and then I could just have some fun with it through the winter, just ripping through the snow and terrorizing the town in a sweet little car that's just a little rocket ship. It's got 3-liter inline 6, which is fun, 230 horsepower. It'd be a blast in the snow if I can get it running right. So that's all I'm going to show you guys for now. Stay tuned for more videos on this car, but also if you haven't subscribed, do that and check out some of the other videos over here. There's a lot of great videos in the back library. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.